Bernie Sanders is facing attacks from all sides. Obviously, Joe Biden and the centrists are attacking him every step of the way, but also Elizabeth Warren, former ally of his, has been attacking him, not necessarily in the last day, but over the last week in fairly vicious terms. So she had this to say about him a few days back. This crisis demands more than a senator who has good ideas, but whose 30-year track record shows he consistently calls for things he fails to get done and consistently opposes things he nevertheless fails to stop. So look, I understand this is an election. I understand that everyone in the election wants to win, and for that to happen, the other people in the election need to lose. But it is one thing to, for instance, point out a difference between yourself and another candidate and say, on this policy, I'm better. Or on this policy, I was right first. I led the way. I've been consistent, whatever. If somebody has said and done something bad, you can point it out, you should. It's your obligation, it's an election. If stop and frisk was horrible, we should be talking about it. If a candidate lies about their record, you should point it out. But to say this person is a failure, effectively, that is what that message is. It is 30 years of wanting the right thing, but you just couldn't get it done. And of course, importantly, it's even worse to make a statement like that when it's not true. So look, Bernie Sanders has responded to this recently. If you want to, you can go take a look at his recent appearance on Anderson Cooper, where he talked for more than 2 minutes straight about all of his achievements. And they really do come in multiple forms. If you've been following Bernie Sanders between the 2016 election and today, you've seen that. Has he been doing the right thing, advocating for the right things, pushing for the right things in elected office? Yes, 100%. But he has not spent all of his time in DC. He has been traveling and working with workers who are on strike, making sure that Amazon workers, Walmart, all of that are getting better wages, better benefits. He is out there actually accomplishing those things. And even if you're gonna focus in DC, you have to acknowledge that not only has he had more successful roll call amendments than any other senator year after year after year, but also virtually no one has been more successful in crossing the aisle and working with Republicans on the right goals. It's very easy to get Republicans to go along with you when you want to slash social spending or pass tax cuts, that sort of thing. But last year, I mean, how much coverage did we do here on the Damage Report of him and Ro Khanna and others working with Republicans to invoke the War Powers Act to try to get us out of the disastrous Saudi war on Yemen? He did that, okay? That was not him just being right, as if being right is a small thing. That is him actually achieving that. He previously worked with John McCain, like he has done that over and over and over again. And so I understand, especially as we enter into Super Tuesday and beyond, this race is only going to get more vicious. And I am not one of the people that just because I support one candidate, I don't think that they should ever be attacked. But if they're gonna be attacked, it has to be based in the facts. And if you're gonna go low, you better have the receipts to back it up. And I think that in this particular case with Elizabeth Warren, to characterize his career in DC as a failure, the sum total as a failure, is unfair, and it's beneath Elizabeth Warren, even at this late date. But it's not just Elizabeth Warren, of course. We have had a consolidation of centrists over the past few days, all lining up behind Joe Biden. Not only those dropping out like Klobuchar and Buttigieg, no word on Steyer just yet, but even Beto O'Rourke popped his head up after his self-imposed exile of about 6 months ago, and he endorsed him too. We're in fact gonna be talking about that a little bit later on in the show. And so how does Bernie feel about the centrists sort of uniting against him at this point? Here he is.
Senator, our reporting shows that Pete Buttigieg said he got out of the race to try to stop you.
I am shocked by that.
Are you concerned about the moderates consolidating behind Joe Biden?
Look, it is no secret, I mean, the Washington Post has 16 articles a day on this, that there is a massive effort trying to stop Bernie Sanders. That's not a secret to anybody in this room. The corporate establishment is coming together, the political establishment is coming together, and they will do everything. They are really getting nervous that working people.
So look, what he said there I like, but also you can sort of see the hint of a smile on his face. He's not surprised by this. He knew that it was coming at some point. It might be a little bit earlier than expected, admittedly. But let's talk for just a minute or two about the campaign, where it's moving, what phase of the campaign we've just moved into. Because I've been saying for some time that from Bernie Sanders' point of view, if you're a supporter of Bernie Sanders, the presence of all of these centrists, each staying in it supposedly because they think that at a contested convention the nomination will be handed to them, is beneficial to Bernie Sanders, because I believe that it was. Them dropping out and endorsing Biden, to the extent that they can influence where their supporters go, and probably for the majority of cases they will be able to, that does hurt Bernie Sanders. And so, if you're a Bernie supporter and if you want to just listen to someone who's going to always tell you that everything is as good as it could possibly be, then I'm sorry, I have an attachment to the truth. It's going to stop me from doing that. In terms of the electoral math, things have become more difficult. In terms of the national polls, they have moved in the past few days. That does not mean that that's where they'll stay. Biden is still the exact same candidate he was a few days ago, and his natural limitations that have been on display in terms of his campaigning and his debating, all of that is still there. But in terms of the math, things have slightly moved. Now, I will say, outside of the math, in terms of the duel of ideas, the different conceptions of what the Democratic Party should be, what its future is, there I think things are actually moving in a good direction, because when you have a debate stage where you have 7 people, many of them centrist, but pitching themselves as progressives, all of them attacking Bernie Sanders on a variety of different things, that muddles the battle of ideas. But that battle of ideas is becoming more coherent and clearer as these people drop out and as they line up behind Biden. I want that battle of ideas on the debate stage, and I want to play out in the primaries and caucuses to come. And I think that if we have a debate where it's Bernie Sanders and it's Joe Biden, I think it's going to be very, very clear to people what those candidates represent, in a way that the contested debate stages to this point have stopped from us from actually having. Now, I understand that Mike Bloomberg might be around. I say add him in too. If it's Bernie Sanders and those two, it's going to be so clear who's actually on the side of the people. The potential spoiler to that, of course, is Elizabeth Warren. It remains to be seen what she's going to do after Super Tuesday. But I think that we have to have a realistic view of what effect this is likely going to have on the votes, on the polls, but also an understanding of who these people are and how that's going to shape the race to come. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.